The winter sky over Seoul turned an ominous shade of purple-black, unlike anything seen before on Earth. Commander Jae-ho Park stood rigid at his command station, his eyes fixed on the radar screen that showed thousands of unknown objects materializing just beyond Mars. His hands gripped the edge of the console until his knuckles turned white. The normally quiet Space Defense Command Center erupted into controlled chaos. Officers rushed between stations, sharing urgent updates while maintaining their professional composure despite the fear evident in their eyes. Screens lit up across the room as monitoring stations from Beijing to Washington, D.C. reported the same phenomenon. "Sir, we have confirmation from NASA and ESA. The objects appeared simultaneously across a 500,000-kilometer span," reported Lieutenant Min Ki, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "They're holding position, but their formation suggests military intent." Jae-ho nodded, his military training taking over as he processed the information. "Get me Director Lee immediately, and someone get those deep space telescopes pointed at the fleet. I want visual confirmation." The staff worked with practiced efficiency, though Jae-ho noticed their hands shaking as they typed. Within minutes, Director Hae-Newell Lee's face appeared on the main screen, his usual calm demeanor replaced by barely contained tension. "Commander Park, report," Lee ordered, his voice gruff. "Sir, we have multiple contacts beyond Mars orbit. Initial count suggests over 10,000 vessels of varying sizes. The largest ones appear to be around 20 kilometers in length." Jae-ho paused as new data streamed across his screen. "They're maintaining perfect formation despite their numbers. This isn't natural, sir. This is coordinated." Before Lee could respond, every screen in the command center flickered. A deep, resonating sound filled the room, making everyone's teeth vibrate. The screens cleared to show a being unlike anything from Earth. Its skin appeared metallic, with multiple eyes arranged in a circular pattern around what might have been a head. The message was brief but clear. "To the inhabitants of Sol 3, your existence has been noted. Your technological progress threatens the stability of this sector. You have 48 Earth hours to surrender your world and submit to protective custody. Resistance will result in your extinction. This is your only warning." The transmission cut off, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Jae-ho watched as his staff tried to process what they'd just witnessed. Humanity's first contact with alien life, and it came in the form of an ultimatum. Director Lee's voice cut through the silence. "Commander, implement Protocol Omega. Get me a secure line to the President and alert all military commands. We have less than 2 days to prepare Earth's defenses." The next 40 hours were a blur of activity. Every nation on Earth united against the common threat. Military forces worldwide mobilized, nuclear weapons were prepared, and experimental weapons platforms were rushed into service. Scientists worked around the clock to analyze the alien transmission, hoping to find any weakness they could exploit. When the deadline approached, Earth launched its first strike. Missiles carrying the most powerful nuclear warheads ever created streaked toward the alien fleet. The world watched through satellite feeds as humanity's best weapons detonated against invisible barriers surrounding the alien ships. Not a single vessel showed any damage. The aliens' response was swift and devastating. A series of energy beams lanced down from orbit, destroying military bases across the globe. The precision of the attacks made it clear they had been watching Earth for some time, mapping every significant defensive installation. But in an underground laboratory in Daejeon, Dr. Sun Mi Kang made a discovery that would change everything. She had been studying biological samples recovered from a small alien scout ship that had crashed in the Yellow Sea during the initial appearance of the fleet. Most of the ship had been destroyed, but some tissue samples remained intact. As she studied the alien cellular structure under an electron microscope, she noticed something unusual. The alien cells were reacting violently to exposure to common human biochemical compounds. At first, she thought it was contamination, but repeated tests showed the same result. "This can't be right," she muttered, running the test for the fourth time. Their entire biological structure, it's like they're allergic to us. She was about to run another test when the first explosions rocked the surface above. The alien fleet had begun their systematic destruction of Earth's major cities. As warning sirens blared through the underground facility, Dr. Kang rushed to protect her samples. She knew that what she had discovered might be humanity's only hope for survival. With trembling hands, she picked up her secure phone and dialed the emergency number she'd been given. "This is Dr. Kang. Get me Commander Park immediately. I found something in the alien biology, something we might be able to use." As she waited to be connected, another explosion shook the facility, causing dust to rain down from the ceiling. The war for Earth's survival had begun, but perhaps humanity had an unexpected advantage, one written into their very DNA. Dr. Sunmei stared at the computer screen, her heart pounding as she reviewed the test results for the fifth time. The laboratory's emergency lights cast an eerie red glow over her workspace, making the whole scene feel surreal. Above ground, the sounds of distant explosions punctuated the silence of her underground lab. "This can't be right," she whispered, but the data didn't lie. The alien tissue samples showed an extreme reaction to a protein common in human blood. Not just any protein, it was one of the most basic elements of human biology, present in nearly every person on Earth. Dr. Taiwan Kim looked up from his own workstation, dark circles under his eyes from 3 days without proper sleep. "What did you find?" Sun Mai waved him over, pointing at the screen with a shaking finger. "Look at this reaction pattern. The alien cells don't just die. They completely break down when exposed to human hemoglobin variants. It's like their entire cellular structure is allergic to us." Taiwan leaned closer, his exhaustion forgotten as he studied the data. "Run it again," he said, but Sun Mai was already loading new samples into the testing chamber. The underground facility shook as another explosion hit somewhere in the city above. Dust fell from the ceiling, but the reinforced structure held firm. Through the thick walls, they could hear the distant sound of alien ships passing overhead. "Confirmed," Sun Mai announced after the sixth test. "The reaction is consistent. Something in our blood is toxic to them. That's why they're not attempting ground invasion. They can't risk direct contact with humans." Taiwan grabbed the secure phone from the wall. "Director Lee needs to see this now. This could be the weapon we've been looking for." Within an hour, the small laboratory was crowded with military and scientific personnel. Director He Newell stood at the center, his usually immaculate uniform showing signs of wear after days of crisis management. "Explain it again," he ordered, in simple terms. Sun Mi pointed to the microscope display screen. "Their biology is silicon-based, not carbon-based like ours. When exposed to certain proteins in human blood, their cellular structure breaks down completely. It's like an extreme allergic reaction, but much more devastating." Colonel Yoon Suk Choi, who had been quietly observing from the corner, stepped forward. "Can we weaponize it?" The room fell silent. The word weaponize hung in the air, heavy with implications. Dr. Kim shifted uncomfortably, but Sun Mai met the colonel's gaze steadily. "Theoretically, yes, we could create an aerosol delivery system. Their shipped shields are designed to stop energy weapons and physical projectiles. They might not be prepared for a biological attack." The debate that followed was heated. In the war room beneath Seoul, military leaders and scientists argued over the ethics of biological warfare. Some pointed out the Geneva Convention, while others reminded them that such human laws hardly apply to an alien force bent on extinction. Colonel Choi's voice cut through the arguments. "Look at these satellite images," he said, projecting photos onto the wall. They showed the smoking ruins of Tokyo, New York, and London. "We're facing extinction. We can't afford moral hesitation." Director Lee raised his hand for silence. "Dr. Kang, what would you need to weaponize this discovery?" "We'd need blood samples from as many humans as possible," she replied. "The more genetic diversity we can include, the more effective it will be. And we'd need access to industrial-scale production facilities. The pharmaceutical plants in Incheon are still intact, Taiwan added. They're underground like this facility. We could convert them for production within days. Another explosion rocked the facility, closer this time. The lights flickered ominously. We're running out of time, Colonel Choi said grimly. The aliens are systematically destroying every major city. Soon there won't be enough infrastructure left to mount any kind of defense. Director Lee looked around the room, meeting each person's eyes in turn. The ethical implications are severe, he said slowly, but our options are limited. Can anyone suggest an alternative that might save humanity? The silence that followed was answer enough. Dr. Kang, you have authorization to proceed, Lee announced. Colonel Choi, arrange military escort and whatever resources they need. We'll coordinate with surviving governments to begin blood collection immediately. As the others filed out to begin preparations, Sun Mei stayed at her microscope, watching the alien cells dissolve when exposed to human blood proteins. The sight filled her with equal parts hope and dread. They were about to turn human biology itself into a weapon of mass destruction. The question wasn't just whether it would work, but whether humanity could live with the consequences if it did. Above ground, the alien ships continued their systematic destruction, unaware that their greatest weakness had just been discovered in a basement laboratory by a tired scientist who had refused to give up hope. Professor Jin Woo-baek stood before the holographic display in the underground command center, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of Earth's atmospheric model. Around him, military officers and scientists watched as he explained what many considered humanity's final gambit. The aliens have one critical weakness, Jin Woo explained, pointing to the swirling patterns of global wind currents. They need their ships to maintain perfect atmospheric seals. Even their ground forces use sealed environmental suits. They're terrified of Earth's atmosphere. And now we know why. The display shifted to show the molecular structure of the bioweapon they'd created from human blood proteins. 10 days of round-the-clock work by scientists worldwide had refined Dr. Kang's discovery into something that could be mass-produced. Commander Jaiho studied the simulation with intense focus. How do we deliver it? Their shields stop everything we throw at them. Jinwoo allowed himself a small smile. We don't throw anything at them. We let them come to us. He gestured, and the display showed major population centers around the globe. We evacuate the cities, make it look like we're surrendering. The aliens will send ground forces to secure the abandoned urban centers. And then, Colonel Yoon-suk leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. Then we use every industrial fan, every air handling system, every weather modification device. We have to create an artificial atmospheric event. We'll turn Earth's entire atmosphere into a delivery system. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Lieutenant Do Hyun Ryu, who had been quietly taking notes, spoke up. Sir, what about human populations? Won't they be affected? No, Jinwoo replied. The compound only reacts with silicon-based life forms. To humans, it's harmless as water vapor. We've tested it extensively. Commander Jaiho activated the global communications network, connecting them with surviving military bases worldwide. Faces appeared on screens around the room. Commanders from Russia, China, the United States, and other nations that still had functioning installations. Operation Pandora is ready, Jaiho announced. Begin evacuation protocols. Make it look chaotic, disorganized. The aliens must believe we're running in fear. Over the next 48 hours, the greatest acting performance in human history unfolded. Millions of people fled cities in apparent panic, guided by military forces to underground shelters and mountain bunkers. The alien fleet, watching from orbit, saw exactly what they expected, a defeated species running from their inevitable doom. In his command post, Lieutenant Do Hyun monitored the alien communications they'd managed to decrypt. They're taking the bait, sir. Their ground forces are preparing for deployment. They think we're surrendering. Jinwoo watched the atmospheric models, making constant adjustments. The timing had to be perfect. If they released the compound too early, the aliens would detect it. Too late, and their ground forces might secure too many strategic positions. Weather control stations report ready, an operator announced. Industrial facilities standing by. Global wind patterns are optimal. Commander Jai-ho looked at the faces of his fellow officers around the world. Everyone knew their part. Success would mean humanity's survival. Failure meant extinction. All units, confirm position, Jai-ho ordered. The responses came in from around the globe. North American Command, ready. European Coalition, in position. Asian Pacific Alliance, standing by. African Union, prepared. South American forces, ready. Lieutenant Do-hyun monitored the alien fleet's movements. Sir, they're beginning their descent. Ground forces deploying to major cities worldwide. Jinwoo watched the atmospheric models, his hand hovering over the activation control. Timing was everything. The aliens had to commit enough forces to make the strike devastating, but not so many that they could mount an effective counterattack. Enemy forces at 30% deployment, Do-hyun reported. 40%, 50%. Commander Jai-ho nodded to Jinwoo. Professor, commence Operation Pandora. Jinwoo pressed the activation sequence. Across the globe, thousands of industrial fans and weather control devices roared to life. The bioweapon, disguised as ordinary water vapor, began mixing with Earth's atmosphere. Dispersion at 10%. An operator called out. 20%. 30%. On the monitors, they watched as alien ground forces continued to deploy, completely unaware of what was about to happen. Their sealed environmental suits would prove useless against what was coming. Enemy deployment at 70%, Do-hyun reported. They're starting to secure city centers. Jinwoo checked the atmospheric readings one last time. Everything was perfect. The trap they'd spent days preparing was about to spring. All units in position. Lieutenant Do-hyun's voice was steady despite the tension. Awaiting final authorization. Commander Jai-ho looked at the global command display one last time. Humanity's fate rested on what would happen in the next few minutes. He took a deep breath and gave the order they'd all been waiting for. Operation Pandora. Execute. Around the world, the atmosphere itself became humanity's weapon. The trap was set, and Earth's invaders were about to learn why you should never underestimate a species fighting for its survival. The first signs of success came as a low rumble that shook the Earth. Across the globe, alien ships began falling from the sky like metallic rain. Their once perfect formation dissolved into chaos as vessel after vessel lost power and plummeted toward the ground. Captain Mei-Song watched from her hidden position near the outskirts of Seoul as a massive alien mothership struggled to maintain altitude. The enormous vessel's engines flickered and died, its shield systems failing as the crew inside succumbed to the biological agent. The ship crashed into an empty industrial district with an earth-shattering impact that sent debris flying for kilometers. Strike teams, move in. Mi-Ray ordered through her tactical comm. Her soldiers, dressed in sealed environmental suits, emerged from their hiding spots. They had trained for this moment, practicing on simulator programs, based on the limited data they had gathered from previous crashed ships. As they approached the downed mothership, Mi-Ray's team could see the effects of their weapon through the vessel's transparent sections. Alien crew members lay motionless at their stations, their silicon-based bodies literally dissolving from exposure to the human protein compound. Alpha Team, secure the bridge. Beta Team, engineering section. Remember, download everything you can from their computers, Mi-Ray commanded, leading her squad toward what they believed was the main entrance. In orbit, Alien Commander Serang Park watched in horror as his mighty fleet disintegrated around him. His flagship's sealed environment system was failing, and emergency alerts blared from every station on the bridge. Status report, he demanded, his translated voice carrying notes of panic that no alien commander should ever show. Life support failing on decks 3 through 7, his second-in-command reported. Engineering crews not responding. We've lost contact with 60% of the fleet. The rest are reporting massive system failures. Sarang moved to the main viewport, watching as more ships lost power and drifted into deadly spiral orbits. His mission had seemed so simple: subjugate a primitive species that barely had space travel. Now his mighty armada was being destroyed by something he couldn't even see. Back on the ground, Myre's team had breached the fallen mothership's outer hull. They moved through corridors designed for beings larger than humans, their boots clanking on metal floors that pulsed with dying energy. "Captain, you need to see this," her technical specialist called out. He stood before a massive computer terminal, its alien symbols shifting and changing. Their technology, it's incredible. The way they manipulate energy, their FTL drive systems. "Download everything," Myre ordered. "We'll need all of it for what comes next." She knew that surviving this invasion wasn't enough. Humanity needed to prepare for whatever response might come from the aliens' homeworld. In orbit, Sarang made his final transmission. To High Command, Earth defense unsuccessful. The primitives, they turned their own biology into a weapon. Our shields, our technology, they mean nothing against this attack. The planet is far more dangerous than we. His message cut off as the flagship's power failed completely. The massive vessel, nearly 5 kilometers long, began its fatal descent into Earth's atmosphere. Myre's team worked quickly, securing vital sections of their captured ship. In the engineering section, they found what looked like the main power core, technology that could revolutionize Earth's energy production. The medical bay held secrets about alien biology that could advance human medicine by centuries. "Captain," her communications officer called out, "you're needed in the data center. We found their star charts, their invasion plans. Earth wasn't their only target." Myre rushed to see the holographic display showing dozens of worlds marked for conquest. "Send this to command immediately. They need to know what we're dealing with." Across the planet, similar scenes played out as human strike teams secured crashed alien vessels. Each ship contained technology and information that would help humanity take its next steps into the galaxy. In the orbital command center, now relocated to a hardened bunker beneath the Himalayas, military leaders watched with growing optimism as alien ships continued to fall. The bioweapon had exceeded all expectations, rendering the invaders' superior technology useless. "Incoming transmission from Captain Song," an operator announced. "She's secured a mothership. Sir, she says they found the aliens' full invasion plans. We weren't the only target, just the first." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had just inherited the responsibility of stopping an interstellar empire's expansion. But now they had the tools to do it: captured alien technology, and the knowledge that their very biology was a weapon against their would-be conquerors. As the last alien ships fell from the sky, humanity stood on the brink of a new era. They had not only survived, but had gained the means to take their place among the stars. The question was no longer whether they could survive, but what they would do with their unexpected victory. Myre looked at the alien star charts again, a plan already forming in her mind. The invaders had called humans primitive, but they had just learned a costly lesson. Never underestimate a species fighting for its survival. The surviving alien ships turned their weapons toward Earth's surface in a last desperate act of vengeance. Green beams of energy carved through clouds, turning cities to glass and forests to ash. But deep beneath the ground, humanity endured. Colonel Yi Jin Cho stood in the central command hub of Bunker Network Alpha, watching the devastation unfold on massive screens. The underground facility, stretching for kilometers beneath the Korean peninsula, housed over 2 million civilians in relative comfort. "Status report on all sectors," she ordered, her voice calm despite the chaos displayed on the monitors above. "All bunker networks reporting stable conditions," her aide responded. "European facilities at 89% capacity. Americas at 92%, Asian network at 95%. Surface temperature above Bunker 7 has reached 300 degrees Celsius, but our shields are holding. In the research wing, Dr. Tadawon worked frantically with captured alien technology. Surrounded by dismantled alien components and holographic displays, he led a team of engineers in upgrading Earth's defensive capabilities. The alien shield technology operates on principles we never imagined, he explained to a group of military observers. They use quantum fields to deflect energy, but we found a way to reverse the process. Every shot they fire at us can be absorbed and redirected. The ground shook as another energy beam struck the surface above. The aliens were getting desperate, their attacks becoming more erratic as more of their ships succumbed to the biological weapon. Colonel, a sensor operator called out urgently. Long-range detection systems are picking up new signals. Massive fleet approaching from the direction of Alpha Centauri. Yi Jin moved to the main tactical display. The reinforcements they had feared were finally arriving. Hundreds of alien ships, larger than the first wave. Dr. Taiwan, she spoke into her comm unit. Are the new defense systems ready? Final calibrations complete, he replied. The captured technology has been successfully integrated with our planetary defense grid. All we need now is power. Yi Jin turned to her energy management team. Divert power from all non-essential systems. Give Dr. Taiwan everything he needs. Throughout the bunker network, lights dimmed as power was redirected to the defense systems. Millions of civilians sat in semi-darkness, waiting and hoping. The alien reinforcements entered the solar system, their massive ships casting shadows on Jupiter's moons as they passed. Unlike the first wave, these ships maintained distance, having learned from their predecessors' fatal mistake. They're holding position just beyond Mars' orbit, the sensor operator reported. Energy readings suggest they're charging weapons. Yi Jin checked the status of Earth's new defensive shield. The system, a hybrid of human ingenuity and alien technology, hummed with power. Dr. Taiwan had modified the alien shields to create a planetary barrier, but it had never been tested against an attack of this magnitude. All stations, prepare for impact, she announced across all bunker networks. This is what we've prepared for. The alien fleet fired as one, thousands of energy beams converging on Earth. The planet's atmosphere lit up like a second sun as the attack struck the shield. For a moment, everyone held their breath, waiting to see if their defenses would hold. Dr. Taiwan watched his instruments with intense focus. Shield absorbing energy at 60% efficiency, 75%, 89%. We're doing it. The shield is actually getting stronger with each hit. The aliens, realizing their weapons were ineffective, launched a new type of attack. Massive projectiles, each the size of a small mountain, were fired toward Earth. Kinetic bombardment incoming, the sensor operator warned. Impact in 3 minutes. But Dr. Taiwan smiled. Exactly what we were hoping for. Colonel, permission to activate the countermeasure system. Yi Jin nodded. Do it. The hybrid defense system sprang into action. The absorbed energy from the previous attack was redirected, creating a web of force fields that caught the incoming projectiles. Instead of destroying them, the system used their momentum, sending them hurtling back toward the alien fleet at even greater speeds. The aliens, caught off guard by this impossible feat of engineering, scattered to avoid their own weapons. Several ships were struck, breaking apart in massive explosions that lit up the space between Mars and Earth. Message from the alien fleet, communications reported. They're requesting to negotiate. A murmur of disbelief spread through the command center. Yi Jin allowed herself a small smile. Earth had not only survived, but had evolved into something the aliens had never expected. A world that could turn their own weapons against them. Tell them, she said, that we'll be happy to discuss terms of their surrender. And remind them, Earth is now under the protection of its own people. In his laboratory, Dr. Taiwan watched the alien fleet retreat to a safe distance. The captured technology had given humanity a chance, but it was their ability to adapt and improve upon it that had saved them. The aliens had come expecting to find primitives. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant. The scorched surface of Earth would heal in time, but humanity had been forever changed. They were no longer just inhabitants of a single world. They had become defenders of Earth, and perhaps soon, protectors of other worlds that faced similar threats. The moon hung like a silver coin in the black void of space, its surface reflecting the light of dozens of energy beams as humanity prepared for its final stand. Commander Jeho sat in the command chair of the HSS Defiant, Earth's first hybrid warship built from captured alien technology. "All ships report ready," his tactical officer announced. "The alien fleet has taken position on the far side of the moon." Jeho studied the tactical display, where red dots representing enemy vessels clustered behind Earth's natural satellite. 3 months of reverse engineering alien technology had given humanity a fighting chance, but the enemy still outnumbered them 5-1. "Open fleet-wide communications," Jeho ordered, his voice carried to every hybrid ship in Earth's defense fleet. "This is Commander Jeho. For 3 months, we've learned to use their technology. But today, we fight with human hearts. They think they know what these ships can do. Let's show them what happens when humanity takes the helm." The response came as a thunderous chorus through the comm system. For Earth, the human fleet moved with precise coordination, each ship piloted by crews who had trained day and night in simulators. They had studied alien tactics, learned their weaknesses, and now they would exploit them. "Enemy fleet launching fighters," the sensor officer reported. "Traditional arrow formation." Jeho smiled. The aliens were still fighting by their book of tactics, unable to adapt to this new reality where their own technology was being used against them in ways they never imagined. "Launch our fighters, scattered pattern Alpha," he commanded. "Let's show them how humans dance." The hybrid fighters streamed from their carriers, but instead of forming neat rows as the aliens expected, they broke into seemingly chaotic patterns. Years of video gaming and unconventional thinking had prepared human pilots for this moment. "They're taking the bait," Jeho observed as the alien fighters moved to engage. "Execute Operation Slingshot." The human fighters suddenly changed direction, using the moon's gravity to sling themselves around at impossible angles. The alien pilots, bound by their rigid training, couldn't adapt fast enough. Explosions lit up the lunar sky as human innovation triumphed over alien discipline. On the bridge of the Defiant, Jeho watched as the first phase of their plan succeeded. "Main fleet, advance. Remember your training, but trust your instincts." The hybrid warships moved forward, their engines glowing with a combination of human and alien technology. Dr. Tawan's modifications allowed them to push the ships beyond their original specifications, achieving maneuvers their designers never intended. "Enemy capital ships launching energy barrage," Tactical warned. "Initiate defense pattern Echo," Jeho ordered calmly. The human fleet split apart, each ship moving in seemingly random patterns that made targeting nearly impossible. Years of playing dodgeball in schoolyards had taught humans the art of unpredictable movement. The alien fleet's formation began to break as they tried to track the erratic movements of the human ships. Their rigid command structure became their weakness as they struggled to adapt to humanity's fluid battle style. "Sir, they're reforming for a mass attack," the tactical officer reported. Jeho nodded. This was the moment they had planned for. "All ships, execute Operation Hornet's Nest." The human fleet suddenly converged from all directions, trapping the alien vessels in a three-dimensional web of crossfire. Ships that had been seemingly fleeing now turned to attack, their movements coordinated with a precision that came from countless hours of practice. "Enemy shields failing on multiple vessels," Tactical reported with barely contained excitement. "They're trying to retreat." But retreat was no longer an option. The human fleet had positioned itself perfectly, using the moon's gravity well to restrict the aliens' escape routes. Every attempt to flee led them into another trap, another crossfire. "Sir, enemy commander requesting communication," the comm officer announced. Jaiho straightened in his chair. On screen, the alien commander appeared, his metallic features unable to hide his disbelief. "How?" he demanded. "These are our ships, our technology. How are you defeating us?" "You gave us the tools," Jaiho replied calmly. "But you forgot that technology is only as good as those who use it. Humanity doesn't just adapt. We evolve. We take what exists and make it better." As if to emphasize his point, another series of explosions lit up space as human fighters executed maneuvers that the ship's original designers had thought impossible. "Surrender," Jaiho offered, "and we can end this without further bloodshed." The alien commander's response was cut off by a new alarm. "Sir," Tactical called out, "enemy ships are powering up their main weapons. They're going to try a suicide run." Jaiho's response was immediate. "All ships, execute final protocol." Now, every human vessel activated their secret weapon, a modification that turned their shields into offensive weapons. The aliens had never imagined their defensive technology could be weaponized this way. The space around the moon erupted in a display of energy that would be visible from Earth. When the light faded, the remnants of the alien fleet drifted powerless, their systems overloaded by an attack they never saw coming. "Enemy fleet disabled," Tactical reported. "Victory confirmed." A cheer went up across all channels as humanity celebrated its greatest triumph. They had not just survived, they had proven themselves worthy of the stars. Jaiho looked at the moon, now bearing witness to humanity's emergence as a true spacefaring civilization. "Send word to Earth," he ordered. "The stars are now open to us." The battle for the moon had become humanity's defining moment, proving that human ingenuity and adaptability could overcome any challenge. The aliens had brought their technology to Earth as conquerors, never imagining that humans would master it so completely. 1 year after the historic lunar battle, Earth had changed beyond recognition. Commander Jaiho Park stood at the observation deck of the United Earth Defense Force headquarters in New Seoul, watching massive ships take shape in the construction yards that stretched to the horizon. "Remarkable how far we've come," Director Lee said, joining him at the window. Below them, hybrid vessels of human and alien design rose from their construction cradles, their hulls gleaming in the morning sun. "The Beijing shipyards just launched another exploration vessel," Jaiho reported, checking his datapad. "That makes 15 deep space-capable ships in the last month alone." Dr. Sun Meikang approached them, her lab coat now adorned with the medals she'd received for her role in Earth's salvation, and each one better than the last. "We're not just copying their technology anymore. We're improving it." The three of them watched as workers in powered exoskeletons moved massive components into place. Salvaged alien technology had revolutionized every aspect of human life, from medicine to manufacturing. But humanity's greatest achievement wasn't in the technology they'd gained, it was in how they'd used it. "Intercepted another transmission from the Centauri sector," Director Lee mentioned. 3 more civilizations have requested diplomatic relations with Earth. They're particularly interested in our defensive capabilities. Jaiho smiled. Word had spread quickly through the galaxy about Earth's victory. The planet that had been marked for conquest had instead become a symbol of resistance and innovation. Speaking of defense, Sun Mai added, "The orbital shield network is now operating at 200% of the original alien specifications. No other civilization has managed to modify their shields this way." Below them, a group of cadets marched past, their uniforms bearing the new United Earth insignia, a rising phoenix wrapped around the globe. They were part of the first class of the Space Defense Academy, trained to pilot the new hybrid ships. Latest intelligence suggests at least 2 other invasion fleets have changed course after learning about Earth, Director Lee said. "Our reputation precedes us." In the research wing, Dr. Tadawan's team had just made another breakthrough. The alien quantum drives they'd captured were now being modified to achieve speeds their original designers had thought impossible. Humanity wasn't just catching up to the galaxy's technological level, they were pushing beyond it. We received the first transmissions from the Pathfinder mission, Jaiho reported. The Pathfinder, Earth's first long-range exploration vessel, had been launched 6 months earlier. They've made contact with 3 previously unknown civilizations. All of them were surprised to learn about our victory. Sun Li moved to a different window, one overlooking the medical research facility, where she'd made her crucial discovery. They thought we were primitive because we hadn't mastered space travel, she remarked. But they never understood that technology isn't everything. Human resilience, our ability to adapt and overcome, that's what they couldn't comprehend. Director Lee nodded. The galaxy is learning that lesson now. Every civilization that considers Earth a potential target receives the same message. Footage of their mighty Armada being defeated by the very technology they'd brought to destroy us. The observation deck fell silent as a massive ship rose from its construction cradle. The HSS Phoenix, Earth's newest flagship, represented everything humanity had achieved. Its design combined alien technology with human innovation in ways that made it unique in the galaxy. To think, Jaiho mused, a year ago we were fighting for survival. Now we're preparing to explore the stars. Not just explore, Director Lee corrected. We're going to protect them. The defensive technologies we've developed could help other worlds resist invasion. Earth can become a shield for younger civilizations. As if to emphasize his point, a squadron of hybrid fighters streaked across the sky, their formations demonstrating the perfect blend of alien precision and human creativity. The aliens wanted to put us in protective custody, Sun Mai said with a hint of irony. Instead, we've become the protectors. Earth had indeed changed, but its people had remained true to their nature. They had taken the tools of their would-be conquerors and transformed them into something new. The message to the galaxy was clear. Earth was not to be underestimated. As the sun set over New Seoul, casting long shadows across the shipyards, Jaiho reflected on how far they'd come. Humanity had not merely survived. They had emerged stronger, wiser, and ready to take their place among the stars. Not through conquest or intimidation, but through unwavering determination, adaptability, and the uniquely human ability to turn defeat into victory. The stars above no longer seemed distant and threatening. They were a challenge, an invitation to prove that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in the technology they possessed, but in their indomitable spirit.